Yeah, Happy New Year, man. How are you doing anyway?
Yeah.
Life's good?
Yeah, it's good. It's been a very, very interesting season because we're moving like in 2 months or a month and a half. We know the area we're going to, but we haven't finalized everything. And
Yeah.
we're trying to buy a farm, like farmland.
Okay.
So I'm going to be like Shaun the Sheep, like the farmer on Shaun the Sheep. Um, and my Irish buddy, he's like, "You've got your wellies," and I'm like, "My what?" And he's like, your Wellingtons, your boots." I was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, so we're looking at farmland and just all the stuff with the holidays. It's just been this good but hectic and fast moving and all the stuff that happens.
So what I was going to do is, because obviously we've been working together now since April. And I don't know how long you've known about me before that. But then, so obviously I was helping you with some stuff and you've been working together. And obviously I've got to know you and you've been developing your own online courses and you've had some stuff before you even come to work with me. So I just thought we could talk about that, really. I just thought it'd be a really good idea to sort of talk about your journey and, so that everyone can get to know you as much as I've got to know you over the last few months. I thought that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And then we can just kind of find out, like, why, because I find it really fascinating. Because, like, for me, most people know my story from my webinar, I think.
Yeah.
And I always, like, when I meet people and get to know them, I think, I really want to find out what their story is, right? Like, what is it that led you to where, led you and stuff like that. So I actually, obviously we've been chatting and I was thinking, well, okay, it'd be a good idea to bring you on today and just have a chat with you about that. So I mean, so if we start with, obviously, like, when you signed up for Launch Hacking Secrets, didn't you? Which was mine in April.
Mm-hmm.
So what led you to that point? So what was you doing before that? And where were you, what was going on with your business? Like, I know that you haven't always been an online business. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of video content. I've been doing video for a long time.
Yeah.
And is just doing a couple different things in the marketing world. Did some copywriting. Was learning a lot of different stuff. And my wife kind of jokes about how it's kind of like a lot of different tools in the tool belt.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine, I think it was a friend had mentioned you. And he was like, "Hey, check this out." Because I think he buys everything. Sorry, Norm. But he buys like everything. And he was like, "You should check this guy out. He's pretty cool." Because we had talked before about some YouTube like ranking stuff, which I've done a little bit of that like 4 years ago, or probably 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I know a little bit about that. But then I started watching some of your stuff and I was like, okay, this is cool. He's plugging in some gaps that I'd not heard of before.
Yeah. Right.
And I was like, okay. And, just like anybody, you're kind of watching and seeing, do I like this person? Do I trust them? Whatever. And then
that's just before you go any further with that, that's such a big one, isn't it? I think a lot of people miss that. It's like, are you building that know, like, and trust with people?
Exactly.
If you're just off, like, come and buy. People are like, whoa.
Exactly.
But if you're kind of giving value and offering stuff. So, okay. So, sorry, I just wanted to, I don't want to sing my own praises. I just wanted to pick up on that point. I think that's obviously while we do this, I would like to sort of like throw in a bit of education where it's neat, like where we can kind of spot it. But it's a good thing. Like, obviously, guys, if you're developing whatever you're developing, watching this, like, building know, like, and trust is probably the most important thing. Lee will tell you, I harp on about it a lot, but it's only because obviously when I was trying to sell stuff in the past and I wasn't getting very far, it doesn't work, unless if you build a relationship with people buy from people. But sorry, carry on. I just
no. I mean, that's a great point. It's funny because in fact on LinkedIn, I recently did a post because I'm getting all these people hitting me up and going, "Hey," and they give you this vague, we should connect, and then they immediately pitch you things.
Yeah.
And everybody's going, I hate that, or whatever. So totally know, like, and trust, bring some value, and I feel like that's what you did. You were giving good insights, and I was able to kind of check those marks. And then you had a opportunity to kind of join the one program. You had like kind of a little bit of a different program. And it was symbiotic, but you were testing that out. So I was like, yeah, sign me up. And then from there, that's the first money I wound up spending with you. And then from there, it was like, okay, cool. And then getting to know you a little bit on the back end, because it was that know, like, and trust was even deeper, because there was something you had stated and I misread you. And I didn't understand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You reached out to me and was like, whoa.
And I reached out and I said, that doesn't align with how I feel.
I'm going to tell everyone what it was, right?
Because, okay, yeah. I didn't know if you want to go there.
So I said, you want to build in one of our groups. I said you want to be spamming your Facebook groups with your offers. Now the word spamming, to me, even now I say it sounds wrong, but I just sort of said it in a throwaway comment. And Lee reached out and said, I don't want to be in this group. I don't like that word. And I was like, actually, I didn't mean it like that. I was kind of like meaning it something else. But yeah, and rightly so, you picked me up on something. And I've been very careful with the words I use, because for me, when I'm chatting to my mates, I say things in a certain way. Yeah. And then I kind of realise that sometimes, that sort of thing can happen. And when we first started working together, like I'm fairly unknown now, but I was more unknown, right? I was at that point where I was so I was kind of learning a lot as I was going along as well. And when you said that to me, I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't like to hear that either. I'd be like, well, yeah. And when we clarified it, you were like, oh, okay, no, that's cool. that's totally fine. But yeah. Well,
and I really respected that. I told my wife, I was like, when you said that, because we have great communication, she and I. And I said, originally I was like, I don't know if I really like that, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then when you actually sent me a video and clarifying, and I was like, okay, so the respect level went up at that point. Yeah. It was like, because some people could be like, that's not what I said, blah, blah, arrogant. So that's something I really appreciate. And I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you.
Well, I appreciated you telling me, because obviously this was a beta run of a course that we never really got massively off the ground. But at the time, the Affiliate Tube Success Academy, I was about to park it, right? I was at that point where I was like, okay, well, I've been helping people one-on-one, and I'm doing a lot of stuff, and I have, people kind of queued up to do that. And I was kind of on that stage where I was thinking, well, I haven't managed to launch this course massively successfully, but it is trickling along with what I get on YouTube. Yeah. And I just fancied a new challenge. So I was like, well, I'll show some people like one of the elements of this, which I think is going to be big for this year. And, for a lot of people, it has. I mean, we've had products like Groove funnels, like just come out of nowhere and things like that. And weirdly enough, as I was developing that course, sorry, I'm not making this about me. But as I was developing that course, I was ranking all these different products so that I could have some tests, because I always like to prove by example, right? So I was ranking, and one of them was Groove. And that led me back down the path of Affiliate Tube Success. Yeah, and then I realised actually Affiliate Tube Success needed a little bit of updating, but that was it. It was kind of like, it was the flagship course. Yeah, so I kind of went straight back in with that. But sorry. So I forgot where we were at. Sorry. If I think of something, I have to say it. So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We were just talking about that journey and just how we were kind of working, how we started working together. But going through there, it was just a ton of value. I saw results. That was the biggest thing. Is the proof is in the pudding, really. Yeah. I mean, do you see results? And once the first commissions started coming in, I was like, okay, there's something to this. It was cool, because I remember there's one point, I have 5 kiddos, and I was wrestling on the floor with one of my boys, and my phone buzzed and said, hey, you just made like $400. And I was like, wow, okay, that's cool. So, because most of the stuff I'd done in the past was, if I did video work for someone, it was, okay, you pay me, and then I'm going to come over here and shoot video, and then we're kind of done. So it was cool to have something on autopilot, maybe is the way to.
I think most people have that experience when they get their first commission check. For me, it was when I was recommending a wedding company in the US. I had this wedding site traffic. And I was going to be a wedding planner. Those who haven't seen my webinar, I was going to be a wedding planner when I started. I don't know why. But basically, I sent all this traffic to this company, and they didn't have any tracking system, because I don't think they really existed. I'd never heard the term affiliate marketing back then. But anyway, they gave me this traffic. I gave them this traffic, and then I logged in the next day or a couple of days later, and I saw that I had 350. I can't remember if it was dollars or pounds, but I had 350 something in my PayPal account. Yeah. And I was like, sort of staring at the screen. I was like, whoa. So yeah, and that was, for me, that was like, okay, there's something to this. Yeah. And, like people do say to me, oh yeah, but it's better to sell your own products. And I agree. I think once you've kind of graduated from affiliate marketing and you've got some skills that you can sell, then yeah, I actually agree that it is good to kind of move on to that. Yeah. And at some point this year, I'm going to be developing a system to show people how to create online courses and sell them effectively, because I think it is the next natural step, really. Affiliate marketing is great, but you're growing other people's businesses. And when you can learn to grow your own, I think that's a good skill. But when you first do that, you don't need to develop funnels. You don't need to develop systems. You literally send traffic, right? Yeah. If you can figure that part out, that's the bit. For me, anyway, that's the bit for me that was kind of like, okay, this is all I need to do is just figure out traffic. If I can figure out traffic, I've got it. So yeah, so I totally get that feeling, because I had exactly the same. So yeah, okay. So by the way, I've been going onto Google and searching out some of the products that I promote, because I've been going all in on promoting my own product for the last 8 to 12 months and showing everybody how to use my system. Yeah. There's quite a few of my students now outranking me, right? So it's actually hurting my conversions, because people are looking and going, well, you're not ranking, right? But the thing is, I'm still making loads of money because they're getting those residuals. But I noticed you're outranking me for Kartra.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, that's good. Well, sorry, but yeah.
That's really good. So how's that going for you? Are you getting commissions for that? Yeah.
Yeah. I've got multiple commissions for that. I actually had somebody sign up the other day. Yeah. And it's been really interesting. Again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. It opens up possibilities. Like you're going, when you've not had that happen before, then all of a sudden it happens. You're like, wow, it was I don't know whatever Disney movie that was about it's a whole new world or whatever.
Yeah. That's Aladdin, isn't it? Is that Aladdin?
Maybe. I think maybe so. Yeah. But yeah, just
I shouldn't know that, but I do.
That's okay. It was funny. I was laughing because I watched a video the other day on all these 80s cartoons, and I could still remember all the introduction songs on all the cartoons.
Me too.
Back to the Kartra side, like Kartra's been, you introduced me to Kartra. I was using Lead Pages and a couple other programs and
Kajabi, I think. Weren't you on Kajabi?
Yeah, I was using Kajabi, but I was also using Lead Pages because I hated Kajabi's landing pages. And their pages were just so clunky. And I actually made a video where I put them covered the person's screen name where they actually said, yeah, they're kind of clunky. The Kajabi person said that. So yeah, just having that all in one kind of place was really cool, and I really enjoyed that. And I think it's important to believe in the product that you're promoting. Like, do you think it actually works? And so like promoting your stuff, promoting Kartra, just other programs that actually they do something, and it's not that you're just getting an affiliate commission out of it. So
yeah, right. So how many channels have you got? Have you just got the one, or?
Right now, well, I've got multiple YouTube channels on the affiliate side. I'm focusing. Yeah. But I've had I've had multiple YouTube channels for a while, going back, and some of them I don't really mess with too much. There's about 3 that I mainly do stuff with.
Okay, without obviously, because the thing is with our system, right? People come inside and people are quite secretive, right? Because if you start, like, the thing is that we have a Facebook group and we say to people, post your rankings and post your earnings, and people are, it helps to develop that like kind of know, like, and trust and everything, so that people can kind of come in. But obviously. Most of the time people are ranking for products, right? So even though we showed people how to rank for like products for problems, okay, that's a big part of it. Most people are ranking for the products. So a lot of the time people are obviously a little bit shy about sharing that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I've got 5 other channels which I don't share. Partly because I've got some like real winners, and partly because I've done some mistakes, and I don't want people modeling some of those mistakes, right? Yeah. But so you've got, so without obviously breaking out your products, what niches are they in?
The other ones are in video, and I also have started one for a farm that we're putting together, and that's going to be more of the problem side of things.
Okay.
But the video.
So did you say you had a couple for affiliate products as well, or was they the same ones?
The affiliate ones are all mainly on my on the one channel.
On the one channel, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha,
because
okay.
I was just working on growing that one as opposed to splitting it up into multiple different ones, just because I was trying to get that one going well.
Yeah.
And I've started now that things are ranking.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I totally understand on your side. Like you've got your other channels, people will see that and be like, "Oh, that's a great idea, Paul," and then they'll go.
Well, everyone's outranking me now, so I've got to come back in and choose some new products, because the thing is that what people do when they sign up is they come and model what I do, and rightly so. And I've said to do it as well. I want people to do it because I want people to get results. But there's an abundance. You have to have an abundance mindset, and to me, it doesn't bother me. On my passive income ladder channel, because people need to see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I'm now actually going back in and ranking for products this year. And also I'm going to be choosing some new products and things like that, just so that I can kind of show people, because actually my sales have gone down a little bit because people, the first thing people do is they build know, like, and trust. And I think, well, this is what I do anyway. I go and see what they're doing, right? And when people go and check out and see, I have got rankings, I've got plenty, but I haven't got like I used to. It's not quite as much because people are outranking me. And you can keep them there for years to come. But if you're showing thousands of people how to do the same thing and they go after the same products, it doesn't quite always happen. So I'm going to be I'm obviously going to be doing that. But I love that though, because I always want to see people taking what I show them and then going, you said to me, what do you think I should promote? I think I remember having a conversation with you and I was like, well, you're talking to me about Kartra, like you're loving Kartra. You've changed from Kajabi and you're like, oh my God, Kartra. Go and promote Kartra. And you're like, oh yeah, of course. Straight away.
Well, and I think we get so bogged down. You and I have talked about that, like pick something and go. And you're going to mess some things up, and you're going to get some things right. But if you don't, I'm a firm believer in you learn through the doing. So you've got to do something. And if you don't do anything, you're just going to sit there and nothing's definitely going to happen. So that's something I appreciated that you said in the past, was just pick some things. Obviously you got some parameters, but pick those parameters and kind of move forward and learn. You're going to learn what works and what doesn't. And you're not always going to just pick every product perfectly right off the bat. That's just, and if you do, you're not going to learn much from that. So that's my encouragement. Anybody watching, pick some stuff, within the parameters and go for it. And go.
I love that. So if I was to say, what would be your biggest advice? Because you're inside, you've now got the Affiliate Success Academy. So you've been through the whole system. You've obviously ranked and made money. And you've also, we're going to talk about your own, video school in a minute, because that's exciting because you've developed that and you've been promoting it using some of the strategies as well. So, but what, in terms of affiliate marketing and what you've learned from, obviously you've made commissions, you've got, various channels, and you're making this system work, right? So what would be your biggest advice to anybody who is coming into something like this? What would you say your biggest takeaway from this, or maybe what's the biggest thing you've learned personally?
Gotcha. So the biggest thing I've learned personally, or advice.
Or advice, yeah. I mean, that was too many questions, wasn't it? What would be if you was to say, what would you say to somebody coming into this now? What would you say that they need to kind of do right now?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is mindset. It is not a magic pill. I think everybody wants right now a magic pill. And I take a program, and then all of a sudden tomorrow I've made $1 million. And it doesn't go that way. You have to put in the effort and the work, but once you, it's kind of like a snowball, kind of going downhill. After a bit, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You got to develop that momentum. So if you have to have immediate success, then you're not going to succeed at many things in life, because it takes putting that work in. But I think anybody who's wanting to learn something that's going to give them returns ongoing after you get that first part set up, then this is a great program for you, especially because I'm still getting commissions on videos I made months ago. And that's what I really like about it. People talk about passive income, And I don't know if there necessarily is a completely passive style of income, maybe, because something, everything got to tweak a little bit. But this has been really, really, really cool because you do have to set up that foundation. But once you get the foundation going and it's done, then you see results kind of over and over. And that's what's been really cool. So wrapping that all up, don't be afraid to put in, to devote some work to something, and you'll see results.
Yeah.
So, I love that. Don't quit too quick. Like, don't quit too quickly. If it takes a month or two and you don't see exactly what you're wanting, that doesn't mean it's not working. It doesn't mean, it can mean a lot of different things. Evaluate your data and figure out what you need to change. And I think that's what you do well within the group, is you give input and advice, and people can watch all the training, and there's just, they're not kind of left there.
No, yeah. And it's also, we try to keep it as an evergreen, it evolves, right? So when I started this, it was half the size, and, I'm constantly changing stuff because things change. I think last week, they were talking about Facebook likes now being taken away. Everyone's kind of like, oh, what happens if we can't develop some Facebook profiles with likes? And the way that, that we've done it. And I'm like, well, Facebook, there will be a way for you to develop a profile with followers, right? Because that's how they're replacing it. So it's kind of like, it's that thing. It's like, we obviously will update and evolve things. But the fact is that when you come into something, my tip here is always, and this has got nothing to do with whether you work with me or anyone, is always make sure that they're doing it. Okay. And make sure that the people that they're showing have got results, because if you're going to go and buy a course or a system of someone, which is kind of saturated at the moment, there's a lot of stuff out there, then you want to make sure that these people are not just going and learning it over here and then putting it here, right? Yeah. And that's some of the mistakes I made. Now, if you do that, then you're going to be obviously wasting a bit of money, but you're going to be wasting a lot of time, because you're going to be trying to copy somebody who doesn't really know or believe necessarily what they're teaching is right. They're just trying to make money from copying it from somewhere else. So, that's, the thing is with online courses is that this is a great industry for people to come and learn like some real ninja, some cool skills. But the fact is that you want to make sure that the people that are teaching it know what they're doing. So that's the one that I like to mention to people, because it doesn't just apply to me, it applies to everybody, right? Because if they're getting results and people that they've taught are getting results, then, and also, if you've got your own online courses or anything like that you want to go and sell, guys, I just want to throw this in, because this is something I'm going to be teaching later on this year. Go and show people how to do it for free, right? Straight away, go and actually set up a beta group and show people, right, how to do it. Or, put your calendar out there and say to people, who wants to work with me one-on-one for the next few weeks, and we'll get this set up. Right. And then you'll get a testimonial, because if you go and help someone for free and they're getting results, they're going to give you the best testimonial you've ever had in your life. Right. Yeah. So, this is how I got started. I actually was showing people, I was actually showing some friends for free. And then once I was confident and I knew what I was doing, I was then showing clients for free, And then once I was showing clients for free, suddenly you've got a course, right? You don't really need to overthink it, because every time you get on a call with a client, they're asking you this question, what about this, what about that? Right, I'm going to create that training. I'm going to create that training. And when you put that training together. So obviously if you want to go and create an online course with your skill, go and show people and get results. Okay. So that's a kind of like a little side note to that as well. Just because, like if you're trying to develop a system, or but if you want to buy a system of somebody, just make sure they've kind of done that. Because, that for me, that to me is something I had to learn the hard way. And, it's kind of one of those things that you don't really know when you come in, but when you actually, once you actually kind of come in and you start working with people, you start realizing, then you get results. But if you come in and rinse through some videos, don't complain that it doesn't work. Right? Because rinsing through videos never gets results. Right. Yeah. And we all do it. And it's because the online industry, like, universities will have a very high success rate in most countries in the world, right? Because when you sign up for a university, you go through that course and they say, right, here's module 1. This is what we're doing for this semester, right? And then this semester we do this module, then we move on to, what they don't do is say, right, here's the whole degree, right? Go and study it for the next 3 weeks and then come in on the Monday and we'll start again.
Yeah,
right? But what do we do with online courses? We all do it. Like, I'm going to hold my hand up. I've done it as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do, and we get overwhelmed. And this is why the success rate for online courses is actually quite low. This is why we changed it from it was originally just a course, and I changed it to a coaching program, because obviously people need that, you know, they need that check-in, that support. And we added in the 21-day challenge and, you know, all that sort of funky stuff. So, yeah, I'm so delighted that you're like obviously getting massive results with that. And that's great. So moving on, was there anything else you wanted to add there? Or yeah, I just wanted to check, make sure I hadn't.
I don't think so. I mean, I think I definitely agree on the implementation side of things. You can take any course or training or whatever, but if you don't actually do what you're supposed to do, you're not going to see anything. I think a lot of people like to intellectually learn things, but not actually do them.
Yeah.
Because the doing's the hard part.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah, I think, you know, you got to be willing to put in the work.
And I want to put my hand up on one thing here, because obviously I always want to kind of let you know that Lee and I have been there, right? Yeah. So the thing that I hate doing, right, because I've got a webinar, and when I created that webinar, I created it and I recorded it 100 times before it ever went live, right? Yeah. The original webinar 2 or 3 years ago. Then when I made it, then I was so nervous to make it go live, I recorded it. Right, which meant that it wasn't a successful run of that webinar. So that's why I was generating some sales and doing some things. So again, this is a slight side note, and this is kind of not massively relevant, but I just want to throw this in. But the fact is the thing that I was always procrastinating on was the webinar, right?
Yeah.
And when I connected with Mike Fulsame, and we were going to do it live, bearing in mind, I go live twice a week now with my students and my team, right?
Yeah.
But I hated going live. I used to get sweaty palms. I used to hate it. And it was kind of like a nervous thing. I never used to like answering the phone when I was a kid. I always used to be really nervous about speaking to people. Really weird. Yeah, I've got this kind of shy thing that you probably don't pick up on, but I have got it. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs do actually, that you don't realize. Russell Brunson's massively shy. Weirdly, weirdly enough, yeah. So it's like introvert. I'm an introvert by nature. I'm actually quite quiet, but when I was younger, I used to be a lot louder just to sort of hide my shyness. Yeah. So I have that as well, and so doing it live, and the fact that I was working with Mike, that was a massive pain point. But I obviously had the drive because I was going live, right? I was going live one day, and I had this, and I remember writing this webinar, right? Mike actually helped me as well, because he used to have a course called Webinar Genesis, which was when he was with Kartra. So he basically helped me restructure it, and I was going over and over, and I was like literally 3 or 4 times a day doing this webinar to myself, going over and over and over and again. And it wasn't because I wanted to make millions of dollars. I just didn't want to let Mike down, because I was the first on his Groove Digital Presents.
Yeah,
I remember going over and over, and that webinar made me $1 million in 4 months. So it goes to show, if you do the work, if you've got if you kind of go all in, and I can honestly say those few weeks before that webinar, I hated my life, right? I was and bearing in mind, a month before that, we'd all, was it a month after? No, I think it was right in that month, wasn't it? When did we do Launch Hacking Secrets? Was that in April?
Yeah, I think it was April. Yeah.
So so I must have been doing that at the same time as working on that webinar. And I don't remember that, actually. I remember
you being really busy.
Being amazing. I really loved that. But I must have been working on that webinar in the mornings. So I must have had this split personality where this person that was working on this webinar hated his life. And then Launch Hacking Secrets was one of the best things we ever did. It was really good fun. Yeah. So it's kind of weird. So anyway, I must have done, because it was the 24th of April I did the call with Mike. But it was a massive success, and then we turned it into an evergreen webinar. Because it was a success and it worked. And every time we sent traffic in, it just converted. And it converted, and then Google changed the algorithm and it stopped converting. But So this is kind of weird, because it was basically showing someone just in case anyone's watching this thinking, what are you talking about? So basically, Google changed the way that they do the carousel. Basically, instead of vertically, they changed it horizontally. Actually, meant more traffic because you could get more positions. But when people were seeing it and then putting the searches in, they weren't seeing the same thing, so that put people off. That's what we suspect anyway. So yeah, and also because it was a few months old, sometimes people know, you know, when something goes old, it does sort of start to die down a bit. But anyway, that was my thing. And you know, there are things that are going to be hard, right? But you know that hard thing is there. It's you know, if you believe in God, it's God's way or anyone's way of going, okay, you want this, just go through this little thing, and you'll get it. Right.
Yeah, it's a refining. Yeah.
And if that hard thing wasn't there, it wouldn't have the results because everyone would be doing it. Right.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing it. You've got like way too much competition, everything. So you've got that hard thing there because it's a test from the universe or God going to you, right, go through this and you'll get it.
You'll get it.
And I've always found that whenever I've gone through that, you find it works. It always works because and when you go through that hard thing, it's going to have its challenges. It's going to have all those different things that you've got to like really go. But yeah, so for me, that was probably the hardest thing I ever did. But you know how amazing.
Well, and it's kind of cliche. People talk about, you know, the coal has to be compressed to make a diamond. But I mean, it's true. I like what you're saying about if it was easy, everybody would do it. Right.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of times we have to get the junk chipped away. And then also I'm sure the next webinar you did after that, you've gone, well, I did a webinar with Mike Fulsame. I guess I can do this. This one, you know, isn't as big.
I mean, I overcome
way
so many obstacles with that webinar because I was going live all the time. And I don't have sweaty sweaty palms anymore. None of that, like all of that went away. My confidence went up. And it's weird. Like so many amazing things have happened over the last 12 months that like at some point in the future, I'm going to sit down and go, wow, did that really happen? That was incredible. You know, and also the weird thing is like I said, like when I did Launch Hacking Secrets, I was about to park ATS Academy and your success is like Pat Flynn said this on one of his podcasts. And I think he's mentioned it a few times. Success is usually just round the corner from when you're about to quit. Now that sounds like a cliche, and it is, but it's also true. And it's that kind of, if you quit today and you're right at that point, the likelihood is that it could be around the corner tomorrow. I hadn't actually quit on ATS, fortunately.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was a little bit of luck involved. But if you kind of go and put yourself and get all the cogs in motion, that luck will appear, right? And it always has for me. There's always been something that's kind of helped a little bit. So, anyway, I personally, I think, you know, that was a good point that you made there. And also, you know, if you going back, I can't remember what you said now. There was something you said that I was going to highlight. But basically, so if you go all in on something and get past, go for that thing that, you know, that don't just rinse through videos, get that little thing done that you need to get done. No, I say little thing, it's probably going to be massive, right? Because it usually is. Get that massive thing done, get it out the way. And just move on, and you build all sorts of other strengths and things like that as well. You know, depending on what it is that you've got to do, it generally, you know, propels you forward a lot more than you actually even realise when you're doing it. Sometimes, you know, well, I wouldn't say generally. Sometimes, you know,
that's the thing though, is if you can get those little wins, you know, you get little victories along the way. So the more of those victories that can kind of keep spurring you on, I feel like that helps. So I know that helps me when, you know, if you're going through struggle, if you can get some wins kind of here and there, versus if you're always being beat down or whatever, I feel like that can, you know, look for those wins. You know, maybe the win was that you made a video today or that you got your thing uploaded. Maybe it wasn't as great as you wanted it to be, but you checked it off, you completed something. Like that's a victory. So keep moving.
Great advice. Excellent advice. So Lee's obviously been using this for affiliate marketing, but Lee is somewhat of a ninja with video and with audio. And actually, I'm slightly wrong here. I'm slightly too high, so I need to move.
No, you're good. You're good.
Not too bad. Yeah, I'm conscious of this because he mentioned Lee created a lead magnet. Was like a starter taster course which we put inside the academy, and this was kind of what he didn't develop it originally for the academy, he developed it for himself, And then I sort of asked him, I said, can we put it in Academy? Because I think it'd be really good. And it shows you kind of certain things that you can do with your phone. And one of the things is obviously having your head height right and audio. And also, obviously, I'm not on my phone, but, you know, how you can get started with a phone. So, so obviously, how's that going, Lee? Are you, has that been going okay? Are you selling many of those? And is that all going well?
Well, and I was just going to say too, your camera, you got a haircut, so you got a little less less space there. It's been
going to
really
turn
cool.
into a giraffe.
There you go. Yeah, it's been cool. I mean, should I just mention what it is, or like?
Well, okay. I mean, I don't think anybody can see your cap. So
there you go. Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, so like I mentioned before, I had a background in video and have helped people for video for a long time, and was kind of putting together these pretty well produced videos. But I noticed over and over that it was the more simple videos where you're a person talking to your audience. Those were the ones that wound up doing the best. Yeah. And as I was kind of working with these different companies, I was like, they're paying me thousands of bucks to come out and record all this stuff and then put it together. But the reality is they have a video camera in their pocket that they can record content on. And I know a lot of your video content probably is, you know, you shoot from your desk and you shoot from there. Some of the people I work with though are like, one guy sells medium duty trucks. So they call them box trucks here in the States. I don't know what they call them over there, but just kind of a small boxy truck that you load stuff into and they make deliveries around town. And he sells those. So his content, he's got to be out around the lot recording stuff. And he recorded a video on one of the trucks just showing some things off to people. And he sent that video over straight from his phone and sold a $51,000 truck just straight from that there.
Yeah.
So the course is called Phone Video Made Simple. It just teaches people how to pull the phone out of your pocket and grow, as we talked about, the know, like, and trust factor, because people want to do business with people and not nameless, faceless organizations. And I see that a lot is people are kind of hiding on social media behind like memes or a pretty picture with their logo on it or whatever the thing may be. Yeah. And they're not really communicating with their audience. So that's basically what the course is involved.
I see, that's cool. Because the thing is, right, your phone, right, whether you've got an iPhone or whatever it is, if you've got anything else, then, you know, stop watching this right now. I'm joking. I'm a big advocate of iPhones and Macs.
Unlike you get some,
take your Android and go. No, I'm joking. Some Androids are amazing. I know they are. But yeah, basically. But the thing is, right, I bought this Smart Lav. Sure, you know, this thing. And I recorded some ads for my course, and the audio was dreadful. Okay, now I obviously haven't got it set up right. I've just got it plugged into my phone, and my audio was dreadful. And the weird thing is that every time, like when I launched Launch Hacking Secrets, now you're always nagging me to do this, and it's to go out and about with my phone, especially where I live. This is an amazing place.
You're in a cool place,
Go out, I would connect a lot better with my audience if I went out and about, but I'm always in my office and I just do most of my stuff here. But you're absolutely right. I should be out and about more. But the weird thing is that whenever you record with your phone, the microphones they have are insane. They are actually really, really good. And the cameras, you know, even on the basic models are really good. You know, they are HD cameras and you can do them, you know, that way or that way. And so the fact is that you have recording equipment, like you say, in your pocket. And the engagement I got from that Launch Hacking Secrets, we were oversubscribed. We only had 30 spots, but we were oversubscribed. And all I was doing was I actually went skiing in March. And as the day I got there, they actually closed down the lift. And I just went around the mountains shooting these videos, right? Because the room I had was kind of okay, but it was like I was in the mountains. So out in the mountains, right? So I'm just filming myself out and about. And the engagement, I don't know if I've ever had anything on my Facebook group that's been that engaged, in all honesty. So I would like second that. Like if you're if you've got a phone, you've also got something that's mobile, you can get out and about and you can do stuff. So 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 let me just ask you. Sorry, Lee. I know you wanted to interrupt me there. I just wanted to ask you something quickly before you do that. Yeah, yeah. So how did you develop? Because you said earlier you were showing clients how paying you thousands of dollars. How did you get into that? Well, give me a little bit of your backstory, because I think a lot of people would be interested in sort of knowing about that as well.
On the video, or like how I was learning how to do video, you're saying?
Yeah.
Strangely enough, okay, so I used to be a professional photographer. Okay, so I was a photographer for years. And so like things like light and composing, all those things, I really love those because in photography you can pause time. And you can look back at time, from hundreds or however long, and see very interesting things. But then on the video side, you can still you can see that, but you can hear the voice. And you can hear tonality. And I think that's what people probably like, because I think you did a video when you were on not a ski slope, but you were outside somewhere. I think one of the videos that you had done.
I didn't get on the ski slopes. I couldn't get anywhere near them.
Okay, there was one particular one. I think you showed where you were or something though somehow, because I think I remember going, "Oh, that's cool. That's a cool place." But like, so I was going into why the video was cool, but yeah, I was a professional photographer, moved into video stuff, and actually, I actually took a video course to learn more additional video things. And just started implementing that.
Cool.
We did some video content one time for a dentist, and we did the usual stuff. If you see videos for dentists or even photographs, they're typically like the dentist with his hygienists, and they're just standing there. Or there's scenes from a dental office, and then it's got some, commercial music behind it. But this is kind of one of the things that kind of drove me towards this. We said, let's scrap that and let's just have you talking to the audience. And it's a 45-second video. And Dr. Thompson, he just said, "Hey, has it been a while since you've been to your dentist?" And he said, and then he just goes on there, and for 45 seconds, he just says, he's just very friendly and approachable. And they were trying to get new patients. They got 20 new patients in 3 days, confirmed appointments from this little video. I think totaled like $70-something thousand in lifetime value. But it was just him just being there and being a person. And I think that was kind of, those things like that made me go, people can do this. Like there are roadblocks and certain things, like they're worried about appearance. I'm not a model. Who wants to listen to me? Or my voice sounds funny. All these little head trash things that we deal with. And we don't need to be models. I think you talk about this a lot, is what does, we're solving a problem. That's really what people need, is they got a problem. They want it solved. And if we can kind of put something in there to help them, they don't care if we're gorgeous, because I'm not. But yeah, they're looking for somebody. They're looking for a guide, somebody to help them on the way. So that's kind of photographer, video stuff, and learning that kind of stuff. And then that got me into going, people can do this.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, video is everything, isn't it? Like everything is consumed on video now. The number one streamed, or the number one medium online is video, right? And the number one streamed video is YouTube. But the fact is that, they've all got it now. You've got the Instagram, what do they call it? Reels. I think they're called Reels. TikTok is all video. Everything's video now, isn't it? Like you can't avoid it. And even, this is how I developed what I do, because it's all video. People want, Google are pushing videos over because people want video. People don't want websites. They don't want. So the best way to connect with people, guys, is video, right? Like, so even, and what advice would you give? So say, like, for instance, somebody that, they want to use, let's say, for instance, they want to come and work with you. And, we'll talk about that in a minute, because I know that you've put something together that people can go and find out about. And I'll put a link to that, in a minute. But the thing is that, like, if somebody wanted to work with, like, let's say, for instance, right, if they would come to you and they were like, yeah, but I've got a website, Lee. What would you say if someone said to you, why should I, because a lot of people, I mean, people are getting over that a little bit now, because we've had lockdown and people are going on Zoom.
Exactly.
And people are recording them, and they're starting to get used to seeing themselves. So I think that is going to start getting people's interest. But, you know, one of the biggest objections for people buying my course is that they don't want to put themselves on video, right?
Yeah.
So fortunately, they don't have to, because we can do affiliate marketing without that, you know, in most niches. But with, you know, with what you do, let's say, you know, I have a website and I find you, like, why should I put myself on video? What would you say to me is, you know, and what would be the best thing to overcome that? Actually, that's probably a better question. I know why, because it's everywhere. What would be the best? What would be the best thing that, you know? How would I be able to overcome putting myself on video? Like, would you have an answer for that?
Yeah. So first question, I'll do both of them. First question is just again, going back to people want to do business with people and not nameless, faceless organizations. Like if you hit a website and there's no video on it, then this is just nameless, faceless organization. Even if it's got a picture of Paul sitting there and he's like, hey, I'm a nice guy. Like, you don't know anything about them. Like that could be something they grabbed off of online, you know, or whatever. So I think the tonality that comes out in voice, the concern, the caring, the happiness, the joy, whatever those things are that people actually connect with, that comes out in video. So that's why I say having that on the website. And the second question was basically how to get over. Is that what you're saying? How to get over?
Yeah, like so. I mean, I mean, I asked that first question, but I think most people get the fact that video is going to be more powerful now. I think it's starting to become more common knowledge. So I sort of slightly changed it when I realised that probably wouldn't be the question. Maybe your biggest question would be like, how can I? What was it? I forgot.
It was like I think you were kind of going with like. Maybe people have hangups or problems as to putting their face on video.
Yeah. So how can they get over that? Like what would be a good tip so that they could sort of, because the thing is, I mean, I've got something to add to this, but I just wanted to get your take on it, because you obviously you're training people with this all the time. So I just wanted to know, like, what do you normally say to people in that?
Yeah. So one of the things I say is, try to, if you can, take the attention off of you and what your like your appearance, who take the attention for a second off of you and think of the people that you're serving. I'm very big into who you're serving and how you're helping them.
Yeah, me too. Massive.
If you don't show up for them and help them with the issue that they're dealing with, they're going to stay stuck and stay in this problem. And if they're let's think of a specific situation. So like for I'm trying to give me some kind of a scenario, like a person, maybe like a coach. Let's say like a coach that
an online coach. Yeah.
Okay, so and maybe like a health coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe a lot of people watching this would be affiliate marketers. So say they're affiliate marketer.
Yeah. So there are folks out there. So let's say they are. I'm trying to think of the product. Let's just go to a health product though, just because I kind of got an angle on that.
Okay.
If people, especially with like lockdown and all that kind of stuff, we're kind of stuck in our house, you're feeling kind of a little bit, not great. Those people need help out of that. They need to get out of that situation. They need help out of that problem. But if they're clicking around and all they see is everybody's just text, they're reading this namelessness. No one's going to come and kind of rescue them to some degree, to rescue them out of that situation, out of that problem. But you can do that. But what they need to do is they need to see a difference. They need to see that person. They need to hear your concern, your care for them. There's one guy who's doing this really, really well on the health side on YouTube that I've seen. And he's just like naming all the problems that people are dealing with. And it's just like one after another. And what happens is then you're like, okay, Paul gets me. He's saying the exact same things that I'm feeling. And there's tonality, and Paul's a real person, and he isn't just this manufactured, thing. And from there, people get that transformation that they're needing. So if you can take a little bit of that worry off of your appearance or whatever the thing that's holding you back, and focus on who you're serving. And it's just like anything. It's like riding a bike. Like when you first get on a bike, you're a little bit wobbly. You're gonna scrape your knee here and there. But I find that with video, the more you shoot it, you start to kind of chill out a bit. and you're not as worried. Like one other thing I say in the program is I say, let's go to me, one side of my jaw on the appearance side, one side of my jaw is curved. The other one's more slanted. I've got a cowlick that goes backwards this way and a cowlick that goes this way. And one of my eyes is more squinty than the other eye. And let's say if I'm helping people on the health thing, like nobody cares about that. What they care about is their problem. And if you can help them to get out of that problem.
Hang on. Did you say you had one eye squinted to the other?
I do.
Yeah, I'm going to have to end this interview.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. I can't trust somebody that has a more squinty eye. That's always funny because when I would do like live talks, you would always see people like starting to squint and look.
Yeah. I've never noticed it. It must be something that only you noticed because I couldn't see it.
But we all have hang-ups. We all have things that we don't like about ourselves. We like to change.
Yeah.
But again, that has nothing to do with you serving your people and helping them to get the transformation that they need. So if you can start showing up and start making that video content, you will see people who will be like, when you get that, and you've experienced this, I'm sure, but when you get someone say something like, thank you, I was feeling like crap today and your thing popped up and you mentioned this, and it helped me to move on, or it helped me, back to the weight thing. I've lost 25 pounds or this many inches. I'm now spending time with my kids. I'm now yada, yada, yada. It makes those other things drop. So anyways, that's kind of a long-winded chunk, but
brilliant.
But I think just focusing more on the people you're serving and just kind of doing it, I think is the way to oftentimes get through.
And I just want to add one thing to that because that was brilliant. And it's so true. It's just doing it. But the thing is, right, I didn't do YouTube for 9 years. So when I first spotted YouTube, I can remember being around my friend's place, and he's a musician, so he was recording these songs. And I did this backing vocal, and I had to be off camera. And there's even a bit where I need to go across the room to get my drink while he's recording, and I go like this. I didn't want to be on camera, right? But I knew that I had a feeling about YouTube. I don't know. It was just some sort of, like some energy I was getting from it. I was thinking this is going to be the future. But I was also at a point in my life where I was over my ego, and I didn't necessarily want to go and jump into swimming pools or do whatever, off the top of roofs. And I wasn't a good enough musician to put up my music video. So I I knew there was something I wanted to do. I didn't know what it was. But it took me 9 years, right? I didn't start my YouTube channel, my first YouTube channel till 2016. So from 2007 to 2016, I did nothing on YouTube. And I used to come up with ideas every week. I used to go around my friends and say, what about this? What about that? But do nothing, right? Just do nothing.
Yeah.
Just talk about these ideas. And then, when I started recording, this was the first thing is that I didn't record to anybody. So like, if you guys are kind of like thinking, well, hang on a minute, I don't know if I want to do this, get your phone out and just start doing it. No one ever has to see it, right? You can do 100 of these things before you can put it in front of anyone. Now, I don't recommend doing that, but the first thing is just doing it, right? In those 9 years, I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
So just go and record yourself, or get, if you're recording yourself on your computer or whatever it is you're doing, go and record yourself a few times and get used to watching yourself. Because the fact is, no one ever has to see this stuff. This is going in the bin, right? But if you watch yourself and you get used to doing it, before you even go and publish this stuff, then it's basically gonna get you over that first barrier, which is doing it, right? And actually getting used to seeing yourself. Because the first weird thing I found, especially on my laptop, is talking to myself, looking at a camera, and the first thing is that looking at a camera made me blink. I have no idea. It was kind of a weird thing. Really? But because I'm not. If I look at you, if we were in a room and I was chatting to you, I wouldn't be blinking. But when I was looking at a camera, I would do this. And I noticed over the years, whenever someone had a camcorder, I would get really nervous in a room because I've got this kind of. So I used to. So I've actually got videos of me when I was 18 blinking when somebody was filming me, and it was I don't know where it came from or what it was. So the first thing I did, and I would act weird as well. I would always act weird in front of a camera. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be natural. Now, I think nowadays, obviously, because we're doing Zoom, we're getting a bit more used to that. But even still, if you're kind of the first thing people do when they want to talk to camera, if they're doing something like sales or affiliate marketing or anything like that, the first thing that a lot of people do, and again, this is me, is go, hey, welcome to my video. How are you doing?
Yeah.
So if you walked in the pub, Lee, and we went for a pint and I went, hey, Lee, how are you doing? Oh, do you want a pint? You'd be like, I'm out of here. Who the hell's this?
Sure, Paul.
Yeah. But we all do it, right? And it's not your fault. Like, it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
You don't know how to be natural. So the first thing is obviously learning, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, if you're reading the script or you're doing something different. But the first thing is learning how to, one, look at a camera and talk to yourself, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So my first tip there is just talk to one person. Don't talk to millions of people. You know, exactly. I have sometimes calls with hundreds of people on, but I just still talk to one person, because the fact is there's only one person listening at every single computer, right? So you want to be talking to one person. So that took a while for me to figure that out. No one ever told me that. And secondly, just practice. Do it a few times, and then you'll get used to it. And try and get back to your normal self, but lift the energy. So, you know, like I'm talking to you now, what happens is it's like, you know, they say the camera adds 10 pounds. The camera also loses, you have to add that extra energy for the camera as well. I don't know what it is. But if you were here now and I was talking to you like this, you'd be like, Paul, calm down, man. You're going crazy. But I'm not. Yeah. I'm talking normally. I've just lifted the energy for this. And when I watch my videos back, the energy is always a lot lower than I think it is. So you have to just lift the energy. You don't have to talk like Russell Brunson. You don't have to go, you know, you don't have to do all that. Yeah. But you just have to just basically be the same, but, you know, slightly clearer, slightly, maybe a little bit louder. I don't know. You don't always have to do that, but I'm a bit louder and a bit more expressive. I just make it a little bit more energy, but the same person. And I think that's the ultimate for affiliate marketing or anything that you're doing where you're a brand and you're connecting. I know it's different for different things. If you're acting or, you know, there's different techniques for different things, right? But if you're doing sales or marketing or anything, just be yourself. And that is, it's easier than it sounds, but it comes quicker than you think. Like once you've done it a few times, and get over yourself as well. You are special, but you're not, you know, no one's going to start hating on you straight away and thinking you're like, oh my God, this guy's talking on camera. And you have all these kind of like, I had them. I was like, people are going to laugh at me, right? And weirdly enough, YouTube is one of the kind of biggest platforms for trolls. And since I've been doing it, I've hardly had any. I've had a couple, but like hardly any. Now, if you go on YouTube and you act like a weirdo, you're going to get them, right? The fact is, if you're like normal and you're telling people straight, you know, I've had a couple of videos where I've gone a bit salesy or something, and people have called me on it and says, you know, whatever they've said, right? I can't even remember. But the fact is, and also it doesn't matter so much, because the fact is, if you're connecting with people and you're doing, so you do, every time you do something, you develop a skill. You will get haters, right? I've had a couple. I haven't had as many as I thought I would have. I actually thought I was going to be really divisive, but I wasn't. I wasn't as divisive as I thought. In fact, I think people either connect with me or they don't, and they're just gone. And I think that's the same. That'll be the same with you. So
yeah. Well, and that's a really good point, because I talk about how you're going to attract and repel people. Yeah. Right. So you've got the people who will be your tribe or your following, or the people you need to talk to. They will gravitate towards you. Yeah. And the people who don't are going to not be. And you know, sometimes they'll say dumb things, but that's not anybody you really want in your world anyway. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is I appreciate what you're saying about, you don't have to be like somebody on the commercial. It's like, hey, come on down to this, blah, 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 blah.
I always call it Better Call Saul.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So like, but there are people out there who are very much more quiet, and they're very more reserved, and that's just their personality. And they will connect with people. Maybe they're a little more stoic, they're quiet, but they believe in what they do and they're helping people. There are people who are drawn to that. Yeah. So not everybody.
Sometimes more so as well, because that kind of that confidence is there. And,
exactly.
You know, you don't have to talk fast and loud. You don't. You know, the ultimate is just to be yourself. Because if you ever try and be like anyone else,
it's readable. Yeah, people can kind of smell. And because I'm here in the States, I'm Southern, so my accent. I've had to work on my accent, and I've had to work on slowing things down, because I use a lot of Southern slang. Yeah. And I have to be careful not to say things, and people are like, I don't understand what you're saying. So
really, I think you're very, very clear. But again, this is what you do, isn't it? So yeah.
I mean, I used to say dog, like for
dog.
D-O-G.
Oh, I like
Look
that.
at that dog. dog and whatnot, and would you, did you? You didn't bring the hammer, would you, did you? So there's just, stuff like that. But I mean, I'm still me. I'm pretty much a fun-loving guy. I like to joke around a lot. And, I made a video recently for people with glasses. And I showed how you can change the angle, but I didn't have any glasses. So I just printed some glasses off online and colored them in and put them on my face. And people were laughing at it, and they were like, this is great, and and I was giving them a tip. So you just do you and be you,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, be you and be goofy as well if you're goofy. Don't be afraid to be. And I'm just going to say something here, guys. Right? Obviously, I'm not perfect at this. Lee's not perfect at this. I still am trying to get better at this. And I think in the last 2 years, if I look back, maybe I should post it because I've taken it down now. But if I post my first YouTube video, in fact, I will. I think it will be quite good. Especially with what we're talking about now. You will actually see I go, hey, everyone, I'm actually sweating I was actually ill at the time. And I had the window I always have in front of me now. And this is something I had to learn. So I had the window at the side. So I had this bright face. And I was in my other room. And I had this kind of, and I was really ill. And I was like, so I'm doing YouTube now. Yeah. And by the way, this wasn't the first time I'd recorded something either. I'd done what I just said. I'd done about 20 of these before I did this. And eventually I just put one up. I think I just got fed up with it and put one up. And I'm like, I'm doing YouTube now. And it's horrendous, but I did leave it on my channel. I think I might have taken it. But the only reason I took it down is because everyone was going to it and I was pointing people to it as an example. It was coming up when you put in passive income ladder on Google. So it was the first video that was always coming up. And I didn't want that one coming up first because,
if this guy can do it, I can do it.
Someone recommended this Paul Murphy guy and he's talking like a lunatic. He's like, he doesn't know he doesn't know anything.
You just changed the thumbnail to say, 4 years ago, or
4 years ago, exactly. So but I think it's unlisted, but I can still give a link to it, right? So I'll make that available so you guys can see it. But it's interesting. I was watching someone called Alex Becker, and I used to think, oh my god, I want to be Alex Becker. I want to be like him. He's doing, he's killing it online. He's doing all this stuff. He's doing all this stuff. And he was coming up with all these crazy ideas. And at the time I was still learning. I was like, I don't have anything like that. I don't have anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then, like I say, you look back and you think, oh my God, I got there. And you can do that. There's nothing stopping anybody doing it. And I hated my own voice. I thought I don't have the right voice for this. And then when I started connecting with, as well, I was doing, I was talking to myself. I was doing Facebook Lives, because I had no audience and I was basically doing these things to myself, right? I deleted most of them, but I basically was doing these things to myself, and I was going on YouTube, and quite often I was actually deleting one out of every 2 videos I put on YouTube because I was like, well, nobody's watching this, so I delete it, right? And then I put up another one, and no one's watching it, I delete it. And I was doing this for a little while as well. So, there's a learning curve with everything. And I'm not saying you have to delete your videos. I advise people not to. Because, if that ranks, then you can, and you do a better one, you can just point them to the next one, right? Yeah. But, again, I was at the time because I was kind of learning this stuff and I didn't have that much guidance. So I was kind of figuring stuff out. But
you were doing it. And that's the thing, is you were implementing it. And again, as we talked about before, you learn through the doing. And
you learn through the doing.
So
and I honestly, I was completely convinced that I put up a free course on my channel. It's still on my channel. It's obsolete now. It doesn't work. But I put this up and I couldn't give this thing away. I was giving it away. And when I look at the course, it's not horrendous, but it's not, it's not anything like ATS. So it was kind of that again, I did a course to learn how to do courses, and then the next one was a success. But the fact is that, I couldn't give that thing away. But for me, I knew I had a funny feeling as well. This was going to be my learning curve. This was going to be what I was going to do to get me to the next stage. I sort of always knew that, because I knew that I was kind of throwing so much spaghetti at walls at the time. I didn't really know what I was doing or where I was going or what I was doing. But I knew something would come out of it. It's kind of weird. And I don't recommend throwing lots of spaghetti at walls, by the way, guys. I should have gone all in on one thing. But you know, at the time I was a bit lost. I didn't really know where I was or what I was doing. And I was investing in I was doing the thing that, you know, we always say to people, don't do that, but I did it, right? I was investing in a course and going, rinsing through some videos. Now this one, and I was skint, right? So I was putting all this stuff on my card. Right, this course, and I was doing all the things that, you know. So, you know, don't think like when I advise people to do stuff, don't think I haven't done it, because I promise you I have. Right?
Been through,
I'm not perfect, and Lee's definitely not perfect as well. So, you know, we've made those mistakes over the time, and probably we'll still carry on making them. Right? There's, you know,
well, you got to fail at some things, right? Like you got to. If you don't try things and you don't fail, then you didn't really learn a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I tell my kids all the time, don't be afraid to fail. Like,
that's a really good advice, actually. Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
You know, as long as it's not a massive failure and you're in danger. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't be afraid to fail. I totally agree with that, because that's the thing, isn't it? We always try and be a perfectionist. There's a big, you know, it's not my phrase. I stole it off someone else, but it's money loves speed, right? Money loves speed.
Yeah.
You know, be an imperfection, aim for imperfection. I know that's a bit of a weird thing to say. Aim for imperfection. I want perfectionist. No, get the job done, and then the next time you'll get it right. You know, so you've got that learning curve. If you kind of tweak, and you know, we've had people inside the academy that will spend weeks doing one video, right? And I get it. It's not like I'm not chastising them for doing it, but that's not a great strategy, because obviously you want to keep moving. You want to keep going forward. Yeah,
you will mess things up. So just kind of go into it knowing that. There's a farmer that I like. He says, I do B level work. I don't do A level work. He says, because B is good enough, it'll get the job done. He says, I could spend, you know, X amount more time getting it to A level. He says, but A level is not really going to do much different. He says, so I do B level and I get the things implemented.
And then you can go and, you know, if this B level thing is doing some numbers and doing some results, then go and make it A level. Absolutely. I've got no. Like, I think that's a good strategy. Like, get the B levels, get the results, get the data, and then go, right, that needs to be really good now. I get that. Like, you know, that's what I did with my webinar. My webinar was doing okay, but when I made it good, it exploded, right? But me going all in on that webinar like I did with Mike without having any results would have been a waste of time, because the fact is who knows whether my audience was interested in what I was selling. Like, if I hadn't have sold anything and then I did that, that would have been a bit of a, you know, that would have been the wrong way to go about it, because the fact is that, you know, I didn't know that anyone wanted that if I did it that way, but I did. I had results. I was training people. So the fact is, you've got to, you know, it's just getting the job done, get those results in. And because, you know, like when we go and study something, like if we want to be a doctor, right, you can't go into a surgery and go, well, I kind of know what I'm doing. Yeah. Where's the heart again? You know,
How many valves?
You've got to be a perfectionist in most jobs, but with digital marketing and online marketing, that is not the way to get results. It's all about data. It's all about trial and error. But we went off a bit topic there. We was obviously talking about your video school. But so if we could just highlight 5 things that people can focus on. And if you wouldn't mind just giving them a little tip, that would be really cool. So if I get the phone out, okay, and obviously, like, you know, hopefully, if you've watched this far, guys, you realise that your phone is a really good tool. You can use it. So if Lee doesn't mind, I was just going to ask, like, what 5 things could you do right now with your phone that would make a massive difference?
Okay, so like like how to shoot, like technically, you're saying, like
So first of all,
okay.
Actually, if we haven't scripted this, guys, you're probably picking up on some of that. So the fact is that, like, Lee, you created like a quick start guide. So if we could just go through some of those points now. And then,
So kind of number one is make sure that when you're framing your video, and when I mean framing, I just mean what part of you, like you can see me, you know, what part of me is in the video. Make sure that wherever your camera is, it's about eye level, nose level, somewhere around there.
Cool.
One thing I often see is people shoot, you know, they put their camera too low and they're like shooting up their nose, and nobody really wants to see up your nose, right? I think we can probably all agree to that. So eye-ish level, nose-ish level, and people don't need to see your feet in the video. So, you know, chest, stomach, you know, head, a little bit of space over your head. And that should be cool.
Okay.
So there's kind of one of the biggest things I tell people is people have to be able to hear you. Like people will, they'll let a video that's visually not as compelling slide. They let that slide, but if they can't hear you well, then they will turn the video off. So if you ever clicked on a video and you had to turn it up all the way on your phone,
loads of times, like,
what is? I can't.
I think most people have to turn mine down because I'm quite loud. But
But so what I'll see sometimes is people be too far away from their phone.
Yeah.
And as you were mentioning earlier, your audio can be pretty fine. Like the audio straight from the phone usually does, or the microphone, I should say, usually does pretty well.
Yeah.
You can usually talk straight into that. But if you're too far away from your phone, then the audio is going to be bad. People can't hear it and people will leave. So make sure I typically do like an arm's distance from wherever the camera is, and you should be fine. Also, you know, be aware, like if you're in a busy city and you're walking and there's a lot of ambient noise or just noise going on around you, then that could, you know, really affect your sound. Or if you're outside and the wind is blowing and you get that whole, you know, sound, people can't read or hear what you're saying. That's, you know, that's another bad one. And then another one, let's say 3, would just be kind of lighting. You don't have to have a professional lighting setup. But one thing one mistake I see people often do is it's called backlighting. So let's say there's a real big bank of windows and it's behind me. Your camera, I always tell people your camera is dumb. It's just going to try to get a decent exposure is what it's going to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're standing outside and there's a beautiful sunset, you'll see people try to put their back to the sunset and they'll become black. They'll become a silhouette. And the camera will get the sunset.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And they're like, but if you press U, then the background goes stark white. So you can't see anything. So
that's interesting.
Pay attention to your lighting. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. But you know, if you're staring straight at the sun, it's kind of hard and you're squinting and whatnot. So just make sure that's decent. And that people can kind of see you. Because again, there's the audio where they can hear your tonality. And then also they just kind of, you know, people want to, especially on first impressions, they see you and they want to hear what you're saying. Cool. So that's 3. Let's see what else. I'm trying to remember what else I have in that particular. Oh yeah, here's a good one. Make sure that your background is somewhat clear. I did a video where I intentionally put a yellow porta-john I don't know if y'all call it portaloo or whatever, toilet in the background. And I made the video and I'm talking about, you know, having a distracting background. And I'm like, there's a bright yellow toilet right here. And you're probably not paying any attention to what I'm saying because you're like, why is there a toilet in the background? So that's, you know, another good one. Obviously, if you're moving in your videos, some people like to walk down the street or whatever. Obviously, that's going to change a little bit. Yeah. But if you've got just something really random back there, it just takes holding the camera and just turning this way to get rid of a distracting background. So, and awesome. Then let's see, last one, number 5. What can we? Look, I'm trying to remember. I've got a 10-part one now. Now that I've got 4 of them, I'm having to remember one last one. I think the big thing, or one of the biggest ones, is to just kind of know generally what you're going to say. Like a lot of times, your phone videos can be a little more impromptu. What do you want to talk about? Like, and how does this video help people? How is it serving them? So maybe you're doing a video and you're talking about a problem that one of your students recently encountered, or you know, just kind of have a conversation. So you're not doing a 30-minute video that people are going to just kind of drop off of. So what are you talking about? Kind of talk about it for a second, present the problem, present a potential solution, and then dip from there. So there's 5.
Awesome. So 5 quick start guides, but Lee does have a program for you guys if you want to go deeper. So obviously Lee's given us his time today to come on here, and I know some of you guys, like, you'll just want to get to the problem, right? So I'm going to tell you now, his course is $497. It's worth every single penny. And I'll just let you, Lee, obviously, if you could just let them know what's inside the course and why you know, who this is a good fit for and who this probably isn't a good fit for would probably be, probably advisable if we just kind of go through that right now. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. So basically, this is for anybody who's trying to connect with their audience and make more sales, kind of build the know, like, and trust factor. So if you are, well, some of the students that I've worked with are like coaches. Obviously, I mentioned salespeople before. I've even had some people who are kind of front-facing for a bigger business. So they don't have a huge marketing department, but what they have is somebody who's like a marketing director, and they're trying to talk with an audience. So they're trying to build a bit of a personal brand and present, a face to some kind of a business. And it can also be for like solopreneurs. I mean, there's just anybody who's really wanting to share whatever the message is they have in their head, and they're wanting to get that out and be seen by people. So that's kind of who it's for. There's basically 6 modules in it, but we're going to go over everything from why you need to be using video and different types of video, editing, how to actually pull your phone out and what you talk about. We're going to cover, once you've got your video, what do you actually do with it? We can cover technical things. So just multiple different things. My goal is for when you're done, you go through it, you have the confidence to pull your phone out and start talking to your people. And that's kind of overarching. That's kind of that, without obviously going too long. That's basically what it's about.
Cool. Okay. So what I'll do, guys, I'll put the link on the screen in the description and in the comments. So yeah, obviously, this is, some of you, this is going to be a good fit for you, right? You're going to want to go and check out this course. Now, when you go to the page, if you're kind of like, I don't know if this is what I want to do, just go and see. He's put some testimonials from some of his students, people he's worked with. Just go and see what they have to say about it, right? Because obviously you can get a better idea of how it's worked for other people by checking that out. So yeah, go and check the link out, and obviously go, like I say, it's going to be a good fit for some of you guys. If you're doing, who can use this course? So could affiliate marketers? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like if you've got something you want to share with folks, because we talked about video, the power of video. Anybody who's trying to make sales, and multiple of my students are making sales like kind of 24 hours because they've created that video content and put it out there, and people are stumbling upon it and finding it. So it's making those sales over and over. And there's one other thing I was going to say that you had mentioned. I was just going to say this too. I'm in the ATS group. So if you've got questions specifically, feel free to hit me up in the Facebook group there too. Yeah. Obviously, I'll put a link to the Facebook group in the description. So if you're not in it, you can come and join it. We've got 2,500 members, I think, something like that now, and growing strong. So yeah, come and join us over there. And like I say, Lee's one of our moderators, so you can come and ask him anything, and he would be more than happy to help you. So awesome. So yeah, guys, I'll put the link on the screen down. So go and check that out. Go and, see, Lee's got a little video there. Obviously, he'll tell you a little bit more about it there as well. And obviously, you can check out the testimonials. It's not a webinar or anything like that. You can just go and check it out. If that's a good fit for you, then I would urge you to do that, because at the moment, we've got obviously, Lee and I have become friends, so he's doing a bit of a special deal. So you can obviously go and check that out while he's still offering that special deal, right? So yeah, but I just want to say thanks, Lee. Obviously, always good to connect with you, man. I know you interviewed me on your channel, and I think I did interview you for my channel, but I never got around to airing that. So this is the one that we're going to air. I actually couldn't find it, so I can't remember what it was, but I think this is a better one anyway. So we'll air this. And how long have we gone on? My God, an hour and a half. Wow. It's like a Mike Phil saying webinar.
This is a proper webinar. So yeah. So I think Lee and I both want to say thanks if you made it to this point. You probably turned us into chipmunks, right? Because that's what I do when videos are an hour and a half long. I usually make people talk fast. Yeah. So but obviously, thanks so much, Lee, and awesome to connect with you again, man. And I'm so pleased for your success. So pleased, and good luck with the move as well. Like, we'll have to get Lee back on just to find out where he moved to. And we might be interviewing chickens next time, right?
There you go. I have some chicken. I had chicken in each hand. We'll do that.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go because this is a super long one, but I'm not going to edit it. I think it's fantastic as it is. So yeah. So we're going to let Lee go, and thanks ever so much, Lee, and I'll catch up with you soon, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you much.